Yeah. So hi Rohan.
How are you, Kathy? First of all,
I
thank you.
hi. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm really good. I'm really good. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to have
Thank
this
you
chat
for
with you.
thank you for coming over and agreeing to do this conversation with me because I'm really excited for doing it. Where are you speaking from today?
As I live in Mumbai,
Okay.
so this is a cafe which is probably the least noisy. So I kind
Oh,
of do my work, like my morning
that's so nice.
important work from here.
Okay. I think cafe runs have become super popular lately.
Oh yes, oh yes. In fact, if you happen to come to Mumbai, there are these certain cafes that are springing up right now in Bandra,
Hmm.
which is all about mindfulness. So they promote mindfulness while you're,
Okay.
visiting their cafe. So it's something. I'm just seeing a slight shift in people's culture.
Interesting. Just reminds me of my time in Bombay. I used to like whenever I would have time, I would like generally run to Marine Drive, sit by the sea, or maybe just grab something from the street to have some me time. So like this cafe thing is pretty new to me. Like I haven't explored much in Bombay,
Yeah.
but now that you have mentioned about it, would be very much happy to do that.
Yeah. So
So
there's at
yeah.
least one thing common between you and me.
Yeah,
So water comes me as well. So whenever I
okay.
feel that I'm a little distracted
Hmm.
or kind of misaligned, so for me the first thing is Marine Drive. Just
Correct.
chill in
Correct.
front of the water.
Perfect. So this alignment is a great way to start the conversation today. So without any further ado, let's get into the conversation. So please introduce yourself to the audience right here. As a person who has written the book, the Elevate, and maybe just in general, how would you want to define yourself to the reader audience here?
Yeah, so guys, I'm someone exactly like you. I mean, I went through an entire grind and I used to be a writer. I used to write for the movies and television for about 12 years of my life. And suddenly there was one day when I decided that I'm writing stories for my heroes on screen, but I'm not writing my own. That is when I took a step back, I took a sabbatical, and then eventually I found coaching, I found mentorship, I found this book, this idea of the book. So today I am very happy to say that while I've rewritten my life, today I'm working with people rewrite theirs. So yeah, this is basically my story in a nutshell.
Interesting. When did you really decided that you wanted to become a writer? Was it a childhood dream of sorts, or was it something that has just happened to you as you grew older?
So this is something interesting. As a kid, I think I was probably 10, 11, and whenever there used to be this class in school where the teacher didn't come up or we had some free time to ourselves, so I would just basically write some things about stories. I was a huge film buff, even as a kid, and that's something that came from my mom. So I would, basically just take one story of a film and basically think about, okay, fine, if I would want to redo this, how would I redo this? Maybe the start is different, maybe the middle is different, maybe the ending is different. So it actually started with that, and then it kind of went on to become a sort of expressing myself. I found this as the biggest channel for me to express myself. So that's when writing actually, became my passion, and then it went on to become my work.
Interesting. I sort of resonate with this journey because although I'm not an author yet, but as a child, I have been meaning to be drawn towards words and probably write something one day, but that hasn't happened. But maybe. But this journey of yours is so lovely to know. So, would love to understand. Like, I have read the book Elevate, but according to you, how would you define the book as? Like, who could be the right audience for the book? What is it really about?
It's about everyone's journey, Kathy. The idea, the framework came to me, of course, while I was doing my uh, writings for the movies in the industry, because across the world, in Hollywood, in Europe, as well as in India, We are known screenwriters have been told to adapt their stories and structure their scripts as per the hero's journey. This is Joseph Campbell's work called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. So it breaks down your life. It breaks down the hero's transformation into 12 stages. Okay. From the time he finds himself in the ordinary world, like you, me, or everyone today, and a whisper or a dream that we've been kind of, shutting down. So what I felt was that while it worked really well for heroes, because eventually a film is a hero's transformation, whether that's male, female, I call them a hero. So it's the hero's transformation. And then as and when I started to apply this more and more to my stories, to my scripts, I realized this is each one of our journey is is where we don't realize because somewhere our level of awareness is not up to where it should be, so we don't realize the challenges we go through, the emotional challenges we go through. And once I started to adapt and see my life as the hero's journey, it became absolutely clear. And that's what was the idea for this book, is that in case if it helped me live a more grounded, a more fulfilled life, it could actually help anyone who picks up this book and basically just goes through it, saying that even today, the people who've read my book send me a text, send me an email saying that yes, I'm in the threshold, I am somewhere in that ordeal phase. And that is what the book takes you through, is to accept the fact that we are in this stage and not just resist it, not fight it, but to accept and to navigate that stage and move on to the next. So that is more or less my core thesis or my core idea for this book.
And that is also something that I really like about this book, is that it doesn't really push you to be someone else, but it sort of helps you to meet you where you are and then take it forward from there. It's more like meeting your true self, and which is something I think most of us miss out on, because in the whole hustle of being somewhere, becoming someone else, we really forget that who we are at the core of. And I think that's the very beautiful idea that the book explores. And that is, it's something that I would want more people to just read and know, that you can definitely be inspired by people, but there is so much more to yourself. So
Absolutely.
it's so beautiful, and it's so important to know yourself first.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Can I just add on to this,
Yes.
is that we as humans,
Hmm.
our biggest delusion is the fact that we are something more than our consciousness. Okay? But the time we realize that everything, our external reality, the life that we are living is eventually the reflection of our consciousness, about how conscious we are. The day we realize that and we start to live by that particular stage, our life changes. Trust me.
Is something that I would want to practice in my daily life as well. How do I, become more conscious of who I am? So, for writing this book, Rohan, would love to understand what is the kind of research that you have to put into, developing it. I remember you have mentioned about Mind Valley somewhere.
Yeah.
It is also something that I came across a few years back. This whole thing, and I think Vishane leads it. Is what I remember. But yeah, in general, would love to understand what kind of background work that you had to do, to write this book.
Yeah. So my life went through an entire 360-degree transformation post-COVID. Is when I had literally hit rock bottom. And a friend of mine suggested that I attend one of the Mind Valley events in Amsterdam. And that's what I actually went on to do. And I came across people who were living their best lives. And when I say their best lives, it's not just about having or achieve more success or, basically having all the money in the life. Yes, money and success are important, but they were just so happy. And I tend to, I spoke to more and more of them. And the more I realized was what led me to this book is basically to kind of construct a transformational journey for each. Actually, I did it for myself, but eventually the idea of writing this book was to do it for others because I believe that once you achieve something, if you have received something from society, it's our duty to give it back so that more and more people tend to benefit from that. So yes, the core idea came from that particular event. I went on to read a lot of books. I went on to consume a lot of podcasts. I went on to I did a lot of courses, certifications, and everything. And eventually, this entire idea, as what I shared with you a little earlier, about the 12 stages of transformation, is what became the thesis of my book. And then, of course, I was working as well at during that time, and I was navigating a new profession. I was getting my coaching certification done. So, what I gave myself was the permission to give 90 minutes of my life, 5 days a week, to design and construct this book. So that's what I did. I just gave myself 90 minutes for 5 days a week to just explore this entire book as to what I want to do. So it eventually derived, this book was derived from my feelings during those times. So that is why if you of course read my book, so if you see there is I have shared a lot of my stories. I have shared a lot of my highs, my downs, my internal uh, conflicts that I faced during that particular time. So I poured my stories into this particular book so that people could just resonate saying that yes, I also have gone through this. I have also experienced this. So more or less, this became my book.
Got it. And I was coming to the same question which you have already answered, that you used to give like 90 minutes each day, because that's exactly what I really wanted to understand. What did your writing routine look like?
Yeah.
Because if you were also working in a full-time job, I'm sure, devoting your time to a passion project gets really difficult. How did you really manage that thing? Did you face any challenge? Or and there is this weird term that is generally used, which is the writer's block. So did you ever come across it? How did you really push past that phase?
Of course, writer's block is part of every writer's life. And at first, I used to struggle with it. I used to think of multiple meditations, multiple hacks, or things as to how do we navigate it, spend insane amount of money just to go and travel somewhere. And so I've tried hundreds of things, but I think the most effective way to overcome a writer's block, and many of us who hear this, because I work with my clients and I help them overcome creative blocks, which is it's a manifestation of a writer's block, is to get bored, literally get bored. Okay, what we do as humans is to fight through everything. We fight through an obstacle, we fight through a particular roadblock, a setback. But if we just step back, okay, and literally accept the fact that we find this is happening, don't fight it, let it pass through, is what I realized when I used to literally get bored and do nothing and just sit and look at the watch and see the seconds going through, is when I realized that I want to just open my laptop, open a fresh page, and just write one paragraph. Go for a walk. Don't listen to a podcast. Don't listen to music. Just sit in nature. Do nothing. Don't read. Do nothing. Just gaze. Be bored as possible. And that is what I've realized is the most effective way to get over any block. Secondly, you asked me About my writing module, yes, 90 minutes. I used to give myself 90 minutes a day, not more than that, not less than that. If yes, in those 90 minutes, I was able to write one paragraph or one chapter, I used to be happy, but not more than 90 minutes. I used to write during my screenwriting days like 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, but it didn't help. It just made you burn out a lot faster. It made you question your choices. It made you question everything that what am I doing? Is this a story that I want to do? Is this this? So it made you question. But eventually, when I realized that if you give yourself 90 clear minutes a day on any task that you want to accomplish, whether that's you not just writing a book, but you may be wanting to create something completely different. But that's what I call an MIT, the most important thing in your life during that time. So if you give yourself 90 minutes a day for 5 days a week to your MIT, you tend to do things faster, more effective, because I'm a huge film fan even today. Um, I don't know whether you watched this film F1 by Brad Pitt. Yeah, so he has this line that he says that smooth is fast, fast is smooth. So that's what I believe in. And yes, so 90 minutes a day to your MIT. If you give this consistently over a period of time, you'll be able to do things much faster.
I think that's a beautiful lesson, and is that one reminder that the most important thing that you really need in life is consistency. Uh, as you mentioned, 90 days without any fail, 5 days a week, and I think that's how you build systems, and you do not focus entirely on the spurts of inspiration whenever they will strike, but you focus on building a system, a consistent system that could help you to build something over time. And I think that's one thing that everyone should really understand when if they want to really focus on doing something and building something and producing an outcome, because overnight success is not overnight. You have to build and work towards it daily, and
It's a
that's
myth. It's a myth,
yeah,
Kathy. It's a
right.
myth. And nowadays, more and more people are succumbing to these promises given on social media saying that one day you will turn this around. Nothing happens in one day. Nothing happens overnight. Eventually, any success is consistent action done over a period of time.
Right. And I so agree with that. Building systems and
Yeah.
building on consistency is the ingredient, is the most important ingredient to your success, I believe.
Yeah.
Would love to understand, how did, because it's a question I feel is very important when it comes to asking this to a question author. Like any creative process ends up helping that artist evolve. So in any way writing this book really helped you change as a person, maybe in very small ways, but did you feel that something in you has shifted while you were in the process of writing a book?
Absolutely. Two important things that I would want to share with you is A, I began to understand myself a lot better. I began to understand the creative process a lot better. That creative process is not something that is going to come to you in abundance. It comes to you in fractions, in minute um, uh, doses. So, and we used to again fight that, but I've begun to understand that and I've begun to make the most of those particular phases where my creative phases are at its peak. And secondly, how writing this book eventually has helped me even today and is going to help me even in the future is the fact that I have poured my heart into this book. I have literally gone on the rooftop of a building and I've said that this is how you're supposed to live. So eventually, it is right now holding me accountable to everyone. So if I tend to kind of drift away from this particular philosophy and somehow go wrong, I remind myself, ki, dude, you can't. You just written a book and you're preaching to the world saying that this is how you're supposed to be living, and you're digressing from that. So these are the two most important things that it's helped me do, is that I've developed a better understanding with myself, and secondly, I'm holding myself more accountable to my own philosophy.
Interesting. I mean, uh, trying to hold yourself accountable, and not really thinking about external factors all the time to, in some ways, maybe just be responsible for whatever you're trying to create, um, is again one lesson. It's a very important lesson that we need to remind ourselves daily, that, there's onus on yourself. You have the onus, you have the responsibility, you have to own up to it. That's how you push past
True,
challenges and
true.
anything that you come across.
Absolutely, absolutely.
um, what is the best part about your book for you? I mean, I'm sure it's the entire package is important to you, because it's something that you have poured your heart into and produced. But if you were to just pick something, maybe a specific chapter, a specific sequence, a specific format that you have used in the book, that really is um, unique according to you, or something that any reader would really want to, like, would be interested to engage with, like, according to you, what would it really be?
The life you want begins with the story you live. So
uh,
for me, that became my tagline, because through the course of writing this book,
hmm,
it eventually, the entire book summed up in the fact that our external reality
hmm,
is a mirror of our internal reality. And that's the most common thread that you see in all the successful, happy people in the world. Is that first, they don't expect their external world to change, they change their internal world. They change the story that they're telling themselves. I mean, because we're talking about books, so why not talk about one of the greatest writers in our time, J.K. Rowling? Okay, if we're aware of her story, she struggled to get Harry Potter out for a really, really long time. I think close to 10 publishers rejected her manuscript. Okay, is when she realized that, and when she went on to read, she said that what's wrong? I mean, why are publishers not is when it dawned upon her that she had been living a life from an internal story saying that one day I want to be a writer. And the day she changed her narrative, and literally she's written it um, everywhere, she said that from one day onwards, instead of saying, I want to be a writer, I used to wake up and look into the mirror, hey, how are you, best selling writer? I am a best selling author. And when she changed her narrative to that, the next publisher she approached bought her manuscript, and the rest is history. So I felt that, and I've seen this with all the people I've worked with in the last 15 years and I'm working with today, is that the story that they live by, the internal narrative that they live by is so strong, is so confident, is extremely, you know, big, and that actually reflects in your external world. So I think this is the biggest takeaway of my book.
so the power of manifestation.
Power of manifestation.
Live the life you
Manifestation.
really want to live
Yeah.
in future, maybe.
So it's a word that reflects the same theory, manifestation.
Yeah.
But however easy it is, we've read it, we've heard it. But one of the most difficult thing to do is exactly this: is to change your internal narrative.
Hmm. Got it. And that's wonderful. Right now we have so many books coming out in the market. Um, how do you think this book will, like, differentiate itself against against all the other books out there? I mean, of course, the its philosophy could be different, its format could be different. So, what, according to you, could be that one differentiating factor for the book?
I think one of the biggest differentiating factors is that I am not asking you to become someone else.
Okay.
I am just asking you to be more aware.
Hmm.
Exactly who you are, but just be more conscious,
Hmm.
just be more aware, and that will change your life. So I am not asking you to wake up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. I am not asking you to install these habits or something. Yes, I mean, I don't challenge those particular theories, but of course, it's someone else's theory, it's someone else's way of bringing change into this world. What I want to do is through my book is not to change you, is just to basically become a more conscious version of yourself.
Okay. Hmm. And this is a random question, but how do you think? Do you think in the current times, uh, reading culture is seeing an upward tick, or is it declining? Are we seeing more readers, or is it becoming a challenge for the for the publishing industry, or for the author industry for that matter, to sell the books? Like, how do you think the reading culture is evolving in the society?
So here my response is a little mixed. Okay, I'm not. It's not a yin and yang thing for me.
Hmm.
I'm right in the middle because I'm seeing like in UK. I don't know whether you read about this. Suddenly there is a surge of bookstores.
Okay.
Okay, just in the last 1 year, I think Barnes and Nobles have opened about 150 more bookstores across UK.
Wow.
And that's something which makes any author, any reader very happy because I'm still very old school in that. I love to spend my Sunday in a bookstore,
Hmm.
going through titles, picking a couple, and reading hard copies. But yes, again, there is a huge shift that is happening in the world where more and more people are now consuming digital content. So
Hmm.
um, Kindle readership is increasing, Audible consumption is increasing. We are more inclined towards reels. We are more inclined towards if someone is basically sharing the entire thesis of that
Yeah.
uh, book in a digital form. So right now, for me, answering your question, you've actually caught me right in the middle. So I have no idea where this is going, but maybe time will tell.
Okay. And if you are into reading, would love to understand that, what are the kind of books that you like to read, and who have been your favorite authors?
Stephen King, he taught me writing
Okay.
when I used to write fiction, so he's someone who I followed. Of course, Joseph Campbell. I read a lot of Brené Brown now because now my reading is more about non-fiction, 70% non-fiction, and 30% I do a little bit of memoirs and autobiographies. And maybe just a couple of fiction titles here and there. So Brené Brown, Mark Manson, Stephen King. Um, I have just now started reading uh, Stephen Bartlett, The Diary of a CEO.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are a few authors that I'm really kind of I look forward to their titles whenever they come out.
Interesting. So I think for the readers out there, we have a few amazing recommendations that have come in from an author today. Coming to the end of this conversation, Rohan, one piece of advice that you would like to give to the aspiring authors out there.
Authenticity.
Hmm.
I think it's very easy to get swayed by, yes, inspiration is important, but it's very easy to get swayed by someone else. You know, when inspiration becomes duplication. I'm not saying, I'm not implying copying, but But I'm just saying that you tend to lose your sense of authenticity. And I say this on a daily basis because I work with a lot of students, I work with a lot of my clients, and I say that you never lose your sense of authenticity because we are one of a kind. Each one of us in this world are here because science has proved it. DNA cannot be replicated. So we are one of a kind, and our authenticity we tend to lose because we tend to adapt to society, to culture scape. So if my first piece of and my only piece of advice to any creator, to any author is be authentic because authenticity is magnetic.
And I believe it's also a very rare commodity now.
Absolutely a rare commodity.
Okay. So thank you so much for giving your time on a Saturday morning to converse with me, and I'm sure the audience out there has enjoyed it. The video will be up on the feed as well for anyone to enjoy it later on at their leisure. But thank you so much for talking about the book Elevate. It has been doing great, and I really, really hope all the best wishes for the book and for your writing journey and for your life in general, Rohan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you,
Yeah,
Kathy. Thank you. Thank you.
take care.